Are you struggling to love your spouse?
I can't do it.
No, that's not what you said.
What did I say? We'll show you how. I'll forget that I've got to sit up like a freak.
Don't say that. Just stop.
You ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Adore Your Spouse When Marriages Get Happier. I was working with a couple about 2 years ago, and I'll never forget this couple. It was just really bizarre because when we started talking, when I did the assessment, I met with them. It was clear that he had fallen out of love with his spouse, and I told him we've got to take actions. He says, "Don't tell me that. I've heard that in church. That's what they always say, and I don't want to do that." I was like, "Dude, you've got to take loving actions towards your spouse." I also worked with another couple where she had fallen out of love with her spouse, and she started taking massive actions towards her spouse, and she fell head over heels. Matter of fact, she was just crazy about it. She said, "I haven't felt this way for years about my spouse," because she'd done all these things, all these actions that were important to him, and it just changed everything. Victor Hugo said, "To love is to act." Stephen Covey tells a story in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where after a seminar, a guy comes up to him and says, "You know what, Dr. Covey, it's been really great hearing you, but I just want to let you know that it really doesn't apply to me because I've fallen out of love with my spouse." Is that how it went? I've fallen out of love? And he said, and so Stephen Covey says, "Well, love her." And he says, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't think you understood what I said. I don't love her anymore." And Covey says, "Love her." And he's like, "I just told you I'm not in love with her anymore." And he says, "Love her. Take actions. Do those things that's going to, when you act, the feelings will follow." And that's really a mystery or a dichotomy we have in our society, where people think that the feelings should be there and then the actions will come, and it's just the opposite.
I think what people don't realize is that when they look back on like their courtship, right, for example, and they see, okay, well, there was a lot of attraction.
Yeah.
Right? There was a lot of physical attraction. And they connect that with love. Like, the attraction was love. No, it wasn't. It was just physical attraction. What happened was you felt physical attraction, and you followed up the physical attraction with loving actions.
With tons of loving actions in all different kinds of ways, right?
Yes, the likelihood is high that you showed this person that you were dating love in all 5 of the love language ways. And so no matter what their love language was, they felt very loved and attended to. You spent time with them,
you bought them gifts, you listened to them.
You served them.
Yep, you did acts of service.
Yep, totally.
You complimented them, you touched them, physical touch, all that stuff, for sure.
And so then you get married, and the day-to-day, responsibilities kick in, and time goes by, and the romance fades, and you just don't do the things that you were doing when you're dating. I mean, think about it for a minute. Think of all the other people that you were attracted to that you didn't take loving actions toward, and that attraction faded. Mm-hmm. It's very closely linked. And so if you can accept that I loved this person in the beginning because I acted lovingly, then you can recognize that if you're struggling to love them, it's because those actions are not present anymore. Now, maybe you're in a situation where you're struggling to love them in some, because of some really damaging reason. Maybe there's some kind of abuse or something horrible going on. That's not the kind of situation that we're talking about. We're talking about a normal situation where you're both decent people and nobody's getting abused or in any kind of major addiction or anything. You're just not feeling it.
And, a great way to maybe emphasize what we're saying here, or to see from a different angle, is that how parents feel about their children.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much, and it's arguably, you could say that the love that a parent has for a child is greater than the love that a child has for a parent, because the parent does so much sacrificing, is taking so many actions. I mean, just to get them on the planet, right, is huge for the mom, and then all the different ways you sacrifice to help raise your children, and there's that love. So I think that right there is proof that this really works. Scott Peck said, where is it at? The will is desire of sufficient... No, that's not it. I don't think that was it. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. will also implies choice. So you've got to take the action. And if you know what you could do, what your spouse wants, you know those actions you should take, then take them. And that's our challenge this week, is decide on what's something you could do, what action can you take, and it probably stems off something your spouse has been asking you, or you know they really want, right? Do that this week. Do that.
They really need.
Yeah.
Maybe they really need intimacy. They really need affection. They really need time to talk with you. Then you really need to go on a date. They really need you to help with parenting. They really, whatever.
Even if it doesn't come natural to you, the only reason you would do it is because you love them, and the way you show them that you love them is you act.
And what's so ironic, what we're saying here is that you are the one that will fall more deeply in love.
Yeah.
Now, your spouse usually will too.
Oh yeah.
It's a reciprocal relationship, which is what's so cool about it.
Well,
but
because they'll start acting.
Yeah, so what we think in our society is, if I take loving actions, then they're just going to love me more. But what really the reward is so awesome is that when you take loving actions, you get to feel more love,
and
which is so fantastic.
If you still don't believe us, like my client didn't, and he just said, I want my happy wife back. I was like, dude, act. But if you don't believe us, then try it.
Yeah.
Just try it for a month and see how you feel after a month of taking deliberate actions towards your spouse that are loving actions towards them. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please head over to adoreyourspouse.com and check out all the free resources there. And also subscribe to our channel and share it. And remember that you can have the happy marriage that you want.
Your emotional reserves are down. And you tend to be more negative. And you just don't, it's like you were saying, you just don't have the mental reserves to actually effectively problem solve. And that's really the problem, because, you know,